All right. Sam R. asked, should women be allowed to pray at the Western Wall? I'm sorry that it's dark. Women are allowed to pray at the Western Wall. There's never been an issue about women praying at the Western Wall. The only issue that people have brought up is, are women allowed to read the Torah at the Western Wall? Are women allowed to have a women's prayer group that is similar to a man's prayer group? On the women's side, there's a group, the Women of the Wall, where they bring a Torah scroll and they want to wear tefillin and talis and read from the Torah like the men do, according to Orthodox tradition, in the conservative and the Reform traditions, and some of the more liberal Orthodox traditions as well. Because still, this is a place where women are praying by themselves. They're not mixing with the men. And that's really, they're not requesting to have a mixed group like the Reform and Conservative generally have. They want really an Orthodox women's prayer group, which according to Rabbi Goren, who was very controversial, but he was the chief rabbi of Israel at one point, he said that pretty much women can do anything men can do as long as the men are not around. Now, this is not standard, though. This is not something that's generally done, except in some very liberal Orthodox circles. Certainly not in the ultra-Orthodox circles, but also not in the mainstream modern Orthodox circles. This is not done, even though Rabbi Goren said it could be, which it's because he really didn't have much support for what he's saying. He just said it, is kind of the way I see it. So that's the issue. Not, like we said, not can women pray. Of course the women can pray at this Western Wall. They always have. But can we have these groups where the women have reading the Torah and they're wearing the things that men wear during prayer? It's not a difference at the Western Wall or anywhere else. Either you can or you can't. There's three separate issues here: the talis, the tefillin, and the Torah reading. The talis is a man's garment, the regular talis, and so a woman to put on the regular black and white talis that a man wears would be a biblical violation of Beged Ish. A woman is not allowed to wear men's clothing, and a man is not allowed to wear women's clothing. Now the question is, what if you make like a pink talis for women? Now, pink might not be the most tznius color, but let's say it's something that it's, it looks like something that a woman would wear, and it's a four-cornered garment. May a woman attach tzitzis to such a garment? And the Magen Avram says she may, according to the Ikar Hadin, but the custom is not to, because it's mechzik yuhara. It appears arrogant to do so, because the women don't do it, and their bubbas didn't do it, and their elder bubbas didn't do it. So who are you to do something that your mother didn't do and your grandmother didn't do? As this goes. Now, the thing is let's say, my Zayda, right? He wore a talis and tefillin every day, but he didn't wear a talis cotton. And he didn't wear a shtreimel, didn't wear a bakasha, he didn't have a beard and payas. Is it mechzik yuar for me to? He was my last link of a male role model in my ancestry. And not only that, but his father didn't, and my Bubba's father didn't. I have to go back several generations to get to the point where we had, even if they were frum, but that they would, So, is that secure? No, because talis katan is an obligation for a man, not an absolute obligation. Doesn't really have to, but it's something that, you know. So, these types of questions. But the thing is I'm not insulting my Zayda by wearing a talis katan. So you want to argue, well, a woman is not insulting her baba by putting tzitzis on a woman's garment. It's technically permitted. And certainly you're talking about someone that their mother, their grandmother, their great-grandmother wasn't even religious. So my Zayda was religious, And that's what they want to do. If they are part of a community where that's the norm, I can't say no. You got to ask the rabbi there. And if they're part of a community where it's not the norm, then no, you don't, because it's parts getter. And again, well, is it wrong for a man to wear a talis katan if he's part of a community where the men don't wear? No, because it's more of an obligation for a man. Certainly, meaning a woman can wear a four-cornered garment and she is not obligated to put tzitzis on it. She would fulfill a mitzvah if she did, but she's not obligated to do so. A man is not allowed to put on a four-cornered garment without attaching tzitzis to it under normal circumstances. Some circumstances he might be allowed to, but in general it's not. So again, that's certainly if you're part of a community where that's not the norm, then don't do it. But if you're part of a community that's the norm, I can't say that it's forbidden, as long as it's a woman's garment. It's just not done in our circles. So if it's done in other circles, it's not the end of the world.